In the month of Indianapolis, when open wheel racing rocket ships tank to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, it's fitting to bring modifieds to the Indianapolis of the East, Thompson Speedway Motorsports Park. Between the challenging racetrack, the tough and rough and tumble hardcore racing and the epic points battle locking drivers into growing storylines, mark this one down this evening as what should be an epic showdown up in the Northeast. Andrew Cardinale with Eric Brennan alongside this evening. Trey Shuttlesworth is over on our social media outlets. Happy that you're joining us this evening on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter for the 5th round of the BRP iRacing Series Asphalt Modified Tour, this time from the virtual Thompson, Connecticut. Eric, I'll be honest, I'm not sure why this joint is called the Indianapolis of the East. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense to my pea-brain, but I do know a few things. Following a 1930s hurricane, a local farmer looked out at his wrecked land and thought, you know what? Yeah, that looks good for racing. And so here we are, the 5/8 mile oval of Thompson Speedway Motorsports Park. And I mean, it is one of the modified racetracks. Actually, it didn't bring it up on the track map. That's on me. But it is one of the modified racetracks up in the Northeast. We talk about this racetrack in the same conversation sometimes as Wall Stadium. I'd throw Stafford in there, New Hampshire even. It is quite simply one of the places to go for modified racing, and I think that is evidenced by the fact that you've been there. You were telling me earlier about how you've been here 4, 5, 6, who knows how many times. And you can then back me up when I say this doesn't really feel like an Indianapolis of the East. It feels more like a short track world's Darlington Raceway.
Andrew, I think that's the best way to describe it. I mean, first off, I love modified racing. I grew up with it at Wall Stadium when I started announcing there back in 2012, and Thompson quickly became one of my favorite modified tracks. Wall Stadium's a little rough and tumble, and it kind of entices contact and conflict, and it's awesome to be there on a weekly basis, but if you want to find a track in this quadrant of the states that showcases somebody's talent, pace, also really highlights their equipment with how long these straightaways are, and the way you have to drive this track. I mean, the peak of the banking is truly in the center of the corners, and that Darlington reference is relevant because in some cases you'll see drivers take it all the way up to the outside retaining wall with the right side tires before they try to cut down as fast as they can to get off the corner and make the straightaway as long as possible. It produces some incredible racing. This track used to have 4 races on what is now the Wheel of Modified Tour slate. They've undergone a lot of management changes and schedule changes and have now put a bit of an emphasis on their road racing prospects going forward, but the oval still stands. It still plays host to select races throughout the calendar year, and thank goodness that we have it in the sim because we're privy to what's going to be one of those really fun races for these 600 horsepower ground pounders tonight.
Yeah, I've noticed in recent years, now I follow along with the Champ Car Endurance Series, for example, even Lemons, and I've noticed that it's been on those calendars more recently than I've seen it host big races that I would see through other platforms. Of course, it still has weekly racing, still has big modified races like you were mentioning, but I really have seen that road course take the forefront of some of the focus. Now, that road course isn't here on iRacing, but I'm so glad this 5/8 mile oval is. Coming up through the iRacing Oval Series ranks, coming up through rookies. This is one of the free tracks, one of the free pieces of content for all iRacing members. It's a toughie. It is a properly tough racetrack. It really challenges you, I think, at a turn 1 to just carry as much speed as you can. Again, it feels a bit like Darlington in that you can carry a bit more speed. It feels a bit more high banked. It feels like the racing line, evidenced by the newer pavement that you can even see here on iRacing, being kind of on the edge where you can kind of de-wedge the left side, but hike those right sides up on the banking, carry a ton of speed up to the outside wall. Then turns 3 and 4, they feel like you run more on the flat.
And the risk you carry there, just like what you would see in turns 3 and 4 at Darlington, that we keep alluding to, is it can kind of de-wedge the car and force you up into the side of the competition if you don't hit it just right. I mean, there's almost an imaginary seam in some cases where that transition from the upper banking to that lower groove drops off kind of significantly and rapidly, and it could totally change the handle of your car coming off the corner, which with these long straightaways, that's going to impact the way in which you get down the straightaway for sure.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to these guys putting down power out of the corners. It is going to be tough this evening, working through a couple of technical difficulties. You'll see that evidence here in a moment. There we go. But I do got to say, this is a fantastic little racetrack, and I'm just looking forward to seeing how things are going to go. Now, we are going to take a quick break, and we'll get that up out of your way. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to sort some stuff out. This is actually planned anyway, so it kind of just fits in, Eric. Glad you're all watching here this evening, though, from the Thompson Speedway Motorsports Park. We'll have points coverage on the way. We got to talk about the schedule. We got to take a look at the track map properly here in a few moments. And they say it's 26 degrees of banking either side of the course. I think that's maybe a little bit off, maybe up by the wall, but the racing line is a little bit different as we've been talking about. So make sure to stick with us. The 5th round of the BRP iRacing Series Asphalt Modified Tour just on the far side away. Practice rolling, qualifying coming up very soon. Can't wait to see how it goes. A lot of these drivers getting ready. It's going to be a fun one. Stick with us.
Sound Art is a product that is a speaker and it's art. We combine it together and we call it Sound Art. What makes it so unique that any picture can be your speaker? Sound Art gives you the high quality sound without the speaker. This isn't a picture with a speaker, the picture is the speaker. Just imagine your wedding picture uploaded onto a canvas and now it's speaking 10,000 tunes. I mean, it's a very cool concept. What we like so much about it that you can take anything that means something very special to you, upload it on the canvas, have it hanging up in your room, your balcony, wherever you want to put it, and now it's a speaker. I mean, how cool is that? It's something that we have that and no one has. No one has this product. It's just a great gift to give anybody. It's just a neat concept. Around here we say, art never sounded so good.
After months of quarantine, we're all interested in how we can become our best self. The team at Permanent Makeup and Cryo is here to help you get the flawless makeup look every day without the extra effort or time. When it comes to your appearance, you deserve the best care that money can buy.
Sound Art introduces an entirely new way to listen to music in your home. By combining the best of two products, a revolutionary high-fidelity, low-profile Bluetooth wireless speaker with beautiful artwork. Select from a library of artwork or upload your own photos to personalize your experience. Sound Art ushers in an era of invisible, beautiful, and amazing sound throughout your home and redefines your entire entertainment system. The need to reclaim your floor space and rid your home of unsightly speaker boxes that need to be bolted to the wall is now a thing of the past. Our canvas is printed on high-quality permalite by Breathing Color. And select from our gallery or upload your own. Standard sizes include 16 by 20 and 18 by 24 canvas wrapped. Custom sizing is available, as well as surround sound options.
Welcome back to the virtual Thompson Speedway Motorsports Park. Some stuff sorted out, which means we get to take a look at the track map. This is what I wanted to talk about, Eric. You can see it looks pretty well symmetrical. Turns 1 and 2 to turns 3 and 4, but they drive completely differently. That's kind of what we were talking about earlier. We'll see that in a moment when we take some onboards. You can also see the very interesting path for pit lane. You can see how far set back it is here from this shot looking across the racetrack. This is one of the, I think, underrated circuits on the iRacing.com platform, especially for being free. But it's certainly, I think, a treat that we get to come here this evening, get to see some racing here from the Northeast in general. An underused area, I would say, on the service in general. And that all said, these modifieds come up from the Northeast, and they've put on a fantastic season so far. We can check in on the point standings thus far. Dave Corsol, the Frenchie, he's got 3 wins out of 4 races. It's incredible. He's won every single oval race thus far, yet Aaron Smith is still only 1 point behind. We were talking a little bit about these points earlier, Eric. It's pretty impressive what Aaron Smith has been able to do.
When you figure that Dave Corsol has won every oval race that the BRP Asphalt Modified Tour has had so far this season, the only one that we had that was not on a circular track was Watkins Glen. Aaron Smith took that one. To see how Smith has been able to stay within just 1 point, utilizing the availability of the bonus points that are up for grabs on a week-in, week-out basis, that's really put himself in contention here to perhaps take hold of this championship in what will be the latter stages of this season. This marks the halfway point of this tour. Some very interesting tracks still to come up, but, you know, for the rest of these guys, especially with Travis Miller and company, and, you know, they have an opportunity here to try to find victory lane, but look at the tracks that remain. Concord Speedway, the now defunct Concord Speedway. That's going to be 2 weeks from tonight. They actually got an off week in store, so June 2nd will be the night that that race goes off. Oxford Plains Speedway, another favorite of mine, very forgiving, wide open, of course, the home of the Oxford 250 late model race that takes place every year. Going to be host of these BRP Tour type modifieds on June 9th. And we're going to wrap it up on the narrow 0.4 of a mile South Boston Speedway in South Boston, Virginia, to try to see who will lay claim to this championship. So very diverse range of short tracks, all with unique layouts, unique drivability characteristics. And I think these guys assembled a pretty significant calendar to try to see who's the best when it comes to these tour type modifieds. And Thompson is just the first to get us through this second wave of this second half of the season to see who will come out on top.
And I like the flow this schedule has had. Since Lanier, we've gone south-north, 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 and then back south a little bit for South Boston, Virginia. Southern National Motorsports Park, it's kind of just tucked up there and kind of messes up the flow. But I like that we're kind of alternating between some of the fantastic racetracks in the south and some of the home tracks for these modifieds up in the north, like Watkins Glen used to be, like Thompson still is, and like Oxford absolutely still is a little bit. And I'm looking forward to seeing how that place rolls. You say it's forgiving. Boy, I think we've got different definitions of forgiving. That curb on the inside, not having a wall on the outside. Oh boy, I love Maine racing, period. I wish we had tracks like Speedway 95, Unity Raceway on there, but I'll take Oxford. I'll take what we can get. It's going to be fantastic in a few weeks. June 9th, that's one that I'm excited for at the very least. We've got practice underway, and we can actually take a look at some of the standing so far with only 5 seconds to go. Bergeron, Jean-Philippe Bergeron's back. He leads that practice standing, and we'll get that back out of the way as qualifying gets ready to open up. We've got, of course, the 2-lap qualifying procedure as per usual. 11 cars this evening. AJ Albretta made it out in these final few moments. We've got some of the other newcomers like Aaron Gregory is out here, Dylan McDonald, I mentioned Jean-Philippe Bergeron. So we've got a solid field of drivers along with some of the dirt guys that make the crossover from Mondays to Wednesdays. 5 minutes of qualifying, these guys getting on the speedway.
And I think the fact that we saw, albeit momentarily, that the top 3 were separated by less than 1/10 of a second, this could be entertaining qualifying sessions of the season so far, with bonus points up for grabs. They give away bonus points, 2 in fact for the fast time in qualifying, 1 for the fastest lap in the race, and 2 for the most laps led, as we're now on board one of our first cars here to take time. And I think this is going to give a good depiction here as we watch one of the front runners in the standings, and Aaron Smith in that familiar bright yellow number 70. It's going to give us an idea of how this track is going to race. See him enter a little bit high, wash up, and then cut down off the bottom and cut across some of those transitional lanes of banking there that lead down the back straightaway. This is where things could get a little bit narrow if you try to go side by side through turn 3, and then it widens up and narrows up quickly to that outside retaining wall where you want to get as close as you can without touching. As you see Smith lay down an 18.834, the fastest lap of the session, 13 thousandths of a second quicker than Bergeron, trying to pick it up here on lap 2.
We'll see what the 70 car can do up out of turn number 4 across the line. And does he improve? Not quite. It's slower, but it holds the provisional pole, of course. Dean Meitzler's also on the racetrack. Looks like he's slowing down, maybe abandoning a lap. There's Corby Daniels. Aaron Gregory out here in the 0X. Scored as the 2 this evening. He works his way into turn number 1. I believe he completes lap number 2 right there. And he should come around into the pit lane, take a tow, what have you. That should be the end of his qualifying effort. The only car left to turn a time would be AJ Alberetta if he chooses to do so. We could just see Aaron Gregory do the same as Aaron Smith is currently doing and take some extra laps. We see that 70 car working around here as well. Not that he seems to need any extra laps, but he'll take it.
And I mean, why not? You know, take advantage of the time. I mean, it's not going to help you really on the stopwatch, but you could kind of get a little bit more in that rhythm and in that groove. And it's hard to think that Thompson would qualify as a rhythmic track, but you know, there's a couple of dotted lines on corner entry and corner exit that you may want to aim for, or visibly may disrupt your approach getting into the corner. They don't really apply all that much to how the pavement kind of transitions from one sector to the other, or Smith elects to pull it off. He may be en route to what would be pole position. And, you know, with that 2 bonus points for the quick time, that would unofficially put him atop the championship standings before this race goes green. So this could be a good opportunity for Aaron Smith to start his ride off on the right foot here as we get set to do battle at Thompson.
Yes, sir. That's how close things are. We've seen some insane points battles so far this season. Doesn't matter which series you're in for the BRP iRacing series. It could be on the dirt with the Pro Late models or you're on the pavement with the Tour mods. Doesn't matter where you are. Doesn't matter who's in it. We've had fantastic points battles, fantastic racing to boot, of course, to set it all up. I mean, you go back to Maxime Plant and Travis Miller being all but tied for 4 weeks straight, it seemed like. And finally, Maxime Plant got some separation coming into Lanier. There we go. A couple of nights ago. You can watch that race on all of our platforms from Monday evening. You come over here with the Tour mods. Let's take a look at the point standings again, because there's only a 1 point separation coming in, and now we know that Aaron Smith with the provisional pole gets 2 points. He's now at 182, so he's ahead of Dave Corsol. It's crazy how close these two are. Now, they are starting to separate themselves a little bit from third, but even Travis Miller is not that far back.
Now you're going to start to enter that point in the season. We talked about all the tough tracks that lie ahead, Thompson included here tonight. You're getting in that point in the season where if you're some of these guys like a Hunter Holberg or a Dylan McDonald or Dean Meitzler did not have a great qualifying effort here tonight, you know, you don't want the season to kind of go by the wayside. You want to try to find a way in victory lane, but you know that the opportunity is waning. So with that in mind here, you're hoping that those 2, or now in this case it'll be 3, being that Jean-Philippe Bergeron is in the field and fast, you're hoping that they mix it up a little bit too much, or that you're able to just drive your way towards the front of the pack and add your name to the win column, even if the championship may seem a little bit too far out of reach. Tonight's the night to make it happen, though. This is a track that is very unpredictable. We've seen over the course of the last several seasons of Tour Type Modified Racing, battles for the lead do tend to get physical here because of the narrow nature of the racing groove, and that could oftentimes open the door for an upset winner, and that could be the case here tonight.
I think we're all rooting for an upset winner. No offense to Dave Corsol, but we want to see things get mixed up, and I don't think anybody aside from Dave would be sad if he might not even finish in the top 3. We all want to see stuff get mixed up. We all want to see these guys have some fun and a little bit of variety. But you know what? I also wouldn't be mad at Dave Corsol victory. The domination he's put on as far as victory lane is fantastic. And it's come down to some pretty close finishes as well. Think back to Lanier in this series where it was separated by just 0.007. That's 7/1000ths of a second in a photo finish. That's something you rarely get. I mean, that is a special kind of finish. But you see, we've rolled over. We are getting ready. We're getting cars on the grid. And just like that, we got to roll down our starting grid. Eric, we'll lead things off with the front row. Aaron Smith from the North iRacing Series at Homestead last night to Thompson Speedway this evening here in the BRP iRacing Series. Well, he's on top. Going to start off from that first position alongside of Jean-Philippe Bergeron.
Then we get ourselves back to number 2, and it was the championship point leader coming into tonight's race. Also undefeated on the oval races. Dave Corsol in the 54 going to start 3rd, and Hunter Holberg, the highest running driver in points without a win that is in attendance here tonight. He's 4th in the standings. He's going to try to look for victory lane in car 99 outside of row 2.
Starting inside of row 3, though, it's the 03 of Matt DeRitter, a dirt guy. He told me earlier today he wasn't even too worried about pavement, yet he's starting 5th this evening. Watch out for him. Dylan McDonald, he'll start to his outside, just waiting on that 38 car to grid up.
Back now to row number 4. You've got Jamie Porter in car 45 looking to try to turn his season around. He's outside the top 10 in points coming into tonight's race. And Aaron Gregory in car 2 outside of row 4. Watch out for Aaron in that 8th spot as we get set to roll off here.
Starting on the back row this evening, out of it looks like only 10 cars. No AJ Alberta tonight, but that means Corby Daniels will start 9th and Dean Meitzler will start from the 10th position, the final 2 cars on the grid. So 10 cars overall, 50 laps, the race distance. Eric, this will be a fun one.
Opening few laps is going to be very important. How badly do these top 2 want the lead when they come off the first corner? Got a spin on the pace lap on the back straightaway.
And you know what? We saw this same kind of thing at Watkins Glen, and I hate to be critical of somebody before the green flag drops, but you got to be careful. That's a come on, man moment.
See here if they are going to be able to. Looks like we're going to have to add a caution lap here before we get underway. We were going to be getting set to come down for the green flag, but that bit of an issue towards the back of the pack will give these drivers a chance once again to see where they are going to line up and stack themselves up. Smith on the inside here. I think he's going to want to try to clear Bergeron going into turn number 1 and maybe slide up and take that preferred groove. But if Bergeron can hang with him, that back straightaway is going to be interesting here on this first lap. Let's see how it all pans out.
Once again, 50 laps the distance. A big shout out to all of our partners here at the BRP iRacing Series, Bicknell Racing Products, Matt Dorito Designs, Jam Performance, Costco Haulage, Miller's Auto Detailing. We're green flag from Thompson, and already a battle for the race lead.
Up top, it's going to be Bergeron using that outside lane to go to the point. Smith's going to move to second trouble. Got a car spinning on the back straightaway and back up in front of traffic.
Big junk, big parking lot down the backstretch. Corby Daniels involved, I think, in the center of all of that, but there were a few cars that go around to cause this melee. Dean Meitzler may have been one of them. Aaron Gregory possibly as well.
I saw that just on the top right-hand portion of the frame. We're going to get a better look at it here. This is coming down for the start outside of row number 3 this time on the car, which we joked earlier was a little bit hard to decipher as far as the particular number and makeup of that machine. I was impressed by the jump that the outside lane got. Looked as though that both the drivers on the outside of row 1 and row 2 got the advantage, but it was coming off the corner that trouble ensues here. And boy, it looks like he just didn't wash all the way out to the outside retaining wall, and they got hooked together. They stayed that way until they washed back up in front of the field, and the hitch just kept on coming. Unfortunately, nearly half the field involved in this accident here on the first lap to slow this field early in what is a short 50-lap event. And we're on board now with Matt Dorita to see how he saw it from his perspective.
So we can kind of ride on board here, see if the 0, the OX just came down, unfortunately, and oh my goodness, the hits.
Yeah, at that point, Dorita had nowhere to go. He kind of got the suspension tangled up in the left side Nerf bars of that 0X car that we were talking about. And at that point, there's really not much you could do. Now, here's Dylan McDonald. This is going to be a shot as he comes now right into the path of the 03 that time. He sees a car get launched up in front of him. That's going to be some pretty significant front-end damage, though, for McDonald. He'll have a chance to try to get that repaired here, hopefully under the caution. But that is not the way in which these drivers wanted to start this race. But it is the way that Jean-Philippe Bergeron wanted to get things rolling. Outside lane to the lead, and he holds the lead behind the pace car with Aaron Smith having to settle for second for the time being. I bet Aaron Smith wishes he had that start back because that was not the launch down into turn number 1 that he wanted, and he finds himself in second spot when this restart comes.
But you know what? He has an opportunity to try and do it all over again. I guess it depends on where Jean-Philippe decides to restart from. We should be 1 to green. Nope, looks like it'll be next time. We're getting some guys put back onto the lead lap here. But if Jean-Philippe doesn't select the outside, and I actually... it's escaping me whether or not he'll get the choice to do so. Aaron Smith, regardless of where he starts, has an option, has an opportunity to possibly get this one right as Aaron Gregory goes by on the grass there, having to go by Dean Meitzler. So we'll get this all sorted out. Caution laps are counting away, so they, of course, want to be careful once we get back rolling. It's lap 5 now, coming to lap 6 of 50. And we showed the weather momentarily before we took the green flag, but then we had Dylan McDonald have problems on the backstretch. Relatively calm, 78 degrees thereabouts. Not quite iRacing default weather, just under it, but still very, very calm. I would say a pretty nice night for the races, and certainly feeling like summer virtually as we've got cars down the backstretch ready to go green flag this time. Eric, we do still have everybody in the field. We've got fast fixes in order to have that mulligan, get back into this race. They've just got to be more careful on this restart to give each other a little more space when we get back green flag racing, and I think they will. We're coming to the green flag, the second green flag of the evening. Jean-Philippe Bergeron restarts from the outside, and again has a pretty good one, but you know what? Aaron Smith challenges into one.
Able to take that spot away. Bergeron with the launch up top. Smith's in danger of losing 2 spots here on the back straightaway. He's under fire from a car that's going to rocket its way through and around the outside. Smith's going to fall to third now early in this race after setting quick time at qualifying. He's on a bit of a comeback trail, hoping this thing stays green because the restarts have not been his friend. Bergeron the leader.
So one green flag lap complete. Jean-Philippe Bergeron, the race leader. But Dave Corso, he's already on that offense. And this is what we've seen so much out of the 54 car this season. He came on like a rocket at Southern National, and ever since, he has been the guy to beat on ovals. But he's going to have to get back around that 18 car. This feels a lot like Lanier a few weeks back, where these two were put head-to-head.
The outside has been the preferred lane for the starts and restarts here tonight. That's what got Corso up in the second spot. And now we get to see that point where which driver is running a little bit of a different line here. Corso a little bit tighter on corner entry. You see Bergeron, he gets way down to the bottom, gets back to the gas early in the center of the corner, stays in it and cuts down low on the corner exit. While these two are going to start to trade differing perspectives and lines coming off the corner to see who may have the edge, while Holberg continues to ride in fourth spot right now after momentarily holding third after the first start. Lost the spot there on the restart to the big outside run by Corso. It's Holberg and DeRitter top 5.
And Holberg just moved into this position, it looks like, or at least got away from that battle with Matt DeRitter. They were side by side out of turn 4 a couple of laps ago. Now that Budweiser 99 gets sorted out and he continues on his advance, possibly up to that 70 of Aaron Smith. But you see Corso getting closer and closer, looking like he's poised to start figuring out where he can maybe challenge this 18 car. It's going to be hard to move him off the racing line. We might see a bumper laid. That might be the only way to do it.
Yeah, or perhaps potentially forcing Bergeron into a mistake here and breaking his momentum down the straightaway. That's one of the things about Thompson. It's a great place to go and watch a race. It's a great place to go see modified racing in action, especially if you're sitting in the grandstands there in turn 4, because you watch the cars run up the banking as Bergeron scrubbed the wall mid-front straightaway there that time through. But sometimes you gotta force your way by the competition. Now, the sim is not so friendly when it comes to bar-to-bar contact. So I think Corso's going to have to be a little bit more careful here and see if he could time a run on corner exit and perhaps hope that Bergeron hiccups down the straightaway, which will give him an avenue to get by. This is going to be fun to watch this chess match ensue and see if Corso could size him up here for the lead.
Working at turn 3, and this will complete lap 15. The next time through, you're seeing exactly what Eric is talking about. That's why we love having Eric for modified racing. They wash up a bit in 3, kind of an inverse apex, like you even told me earlier tonight, where they enter low, they wash up high, apex up top, and work back down, dominating that corner. Like, for example, my reference to it is Denny Hamlin at Richmond, talking about how he enters low, washes up a little bit, and apexes again. It's really cool to watch, especially these modifieds where they wash so far up the racetrack. Legends, street stock, slower cars, they don't go quite as high up the banking, but these guys are really using the whole track.
One of the other things I've started to notice, Andrew, is how aggressive they're trying to arch their entry into the corner. I mean, we saw Bergeron clip the wall on the front straightaway 3 laps ago. We just saw Corso hit the wall going into turn 1 lap ago. So they're trying to do what you would see a lot of the Indy cars do in preparation to entering turns 1 or 3 at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, where they're trying to get out wide as much as they can to cut down low in that attempt to wash up with that reverse apex you were just referring to in the middle of 1 and 2 or 3 and 4. It's been very fun to watch. It's a little bit aggressive, but these big wide tires and all the horsepower they have underneath them help them get the job done. And right now the edge belongs to Bergeron. He's starting to open up that gap now in the tune of about a half second over Corso, while Smith rides quietly in third.
Just recently, we started to see a battle form with these two drivers, McDonald and Porter. It looks like Porter's recently gotten by the 38 car of Dylan McDonald. And there's a big headline around Jimmy Porter this evening as well. He was literally just yesterday named to the Beef Esports team, which carries drivers like Hunter Holberg, Corby Daniels, Matt DeRitter, and many more. In fact, Travis Miller is in that stable. So this is big for Jamie Porter to get that official kind of backing from a proper esports team is, wow, Dylan McDonald all over that outside wall. He saves the race car for now. I just wanted to give Jamie Porter the spotlight for a moment, and McDonald had to come in and steal it. Wow.
And also saw Porter get real sideways going into turn 3 about a lap ago. He's got a different entry or a different approach to it. Look at how low we're watching McDonald come through 3 and 4. There is a bit of a banking transition there. I'll almost to what you see on the inside lane at the New Hampshire Motor Speedway, where they kind of try to, increase the banking in the middle of the racetrack to make it more preferred, promote more side-by-side racing. Thompson's got a little bit of that as well. If you go down below some of that newer, fresher asphalt, it is a little bit flatter. It's a little bit more tough to try to hold it down, and you won't get as good of a drive off the corner, and I think that's why McDonald has lost a little bit of touch, but props for trying. I mean, it's obvious that Porter's a little bit faster at this point in the race as we get closer to halfway, and McDonald's trying all sorts of different approaches into the corner to see what works best for him to try to get back up to that race for 6th.
Meanwhile, the race for first is splitting up. Second place Corsol just can't quite hang right now. Now, if these guys do get a caution flag somewhere in this race, Eric, they've got a set of tires to come in and use up if they so choose. But you know as well as I do, short track racing, you don't have super skilled pit crews. You don't have controlled cautions here on iRacing either, so we can't exactly let them hold their position and give them extra laps. They've got to get it done in the span of just one lap. We've seen 2 tires not work.
And that's something that these guys are going to have to think about. Also, the amount of time that a caution may take. We saw that first go around. I mean, granted, we had the extra pace lap at the beginning of the race with lap traffic up ahead of the leaders. We burned about 4 or 5 laps under the yellow flag the first time around for the big crash. So you may not have that much time to make up those positions should you elect to stop, as Bergeron now has to work his way down to the inside of lap traffic for the first time. This may be an opportunity for Corsol if he can get by the lap traffic cleanly, and he will. And there's a couple of more lap cars up ahead, so this is his shot here if he wants to keep the winning streak alive on the ovals. He's 1 spot shy of doing it for now as we've eclipsed halfway and time is starting to run out.
That was incredibly wise of Dave Corsol to hang off the wall and wait. You see Aaron Smith kind of do the same thing there. Corbin Daniels doing his best to stay out of the way, but when he came out of the corner, the way the pavement just threw him onto the straightaway, his car came so far down the racetrack. If Corsol hadn't have waited on that white line on the bottom of the racetrack, that could have been disaster. But we're seeing what you were talking about, more lap cars up ahead. We've got Dean Meitzler and Aaron Gregory just up ahead in the 49 and OX cars respectively. They've got to be careful as we near these two, especially Dave Corsol. Oh my, he might have an opportunity to take this race lead before too long.
We saw one of the cars get into the wall just in front of the leader. Now on corner exit, Corsol is going to try to make quick work of the lap car there. He gets back up in the preferred line to prepare for his entry to turn 3. Bergeron trapped now behind the lap car up in front of him. That's going to hurt him on corner exit. Bergeron had to burp the throttle. Corsol's got a chance to close up. What can he do with it in 1?
Aaron Gregory hanging tough on the outside. Contact, and Jean-Philippe has to catch the race car on the bottom. Oh, and he just took the line away from Jean-Philippe Bergeron. What is the 18 car going to do? He goes to the outside, and he's going to lap that OX finally, but Corsol is all over his bumper.
Yeah, that checked up Bergeron just enough to put Corsol on the rear Nerf bar here off of 2. We'll see what he can do with it, though. Catching him's one thing, passing him's another, especially at Thompson. You may have to get physical, and he almost got to the back of Bergeron in 3 that time. And the hiccup there cost him about a car length at the line. Bergeron holds the lead for now.
Still nose to tail for this race lead. You see that yellow lurker further back. Aaron Smith just hanging around, waiting for his opportunity while this 54 car goes to work. Jean-Philippe, I don't think his driving style has changed much, but I think we've seen desperation start to kick in here for Dave Corsol. He knows he's running out of time. We're coming up to 16 to go.
One thing I am starting to notice by these two front runners is that they have not seemed to run the same line lap after lap. I don't know if it's because these guys are pushing so hard. I feel like they're washing up a little bit wider earlier in the corner the last couple of laps. I'm sure that Corsol is trying a few different things. Nothing appears to be working just yet, as Bergeron has been doing a great job being defensive despite the hiccup there with the lap traffic. The good news for him
15 laps to go. We lose Eric there for a moment, but Jean-Philippe Bergeron starting to set back away from Dave Corso, starting to open that gap up just a little bit, stretching it out bit by bit. While he does that, I want to highlight this battle that we were talking about earlier on where Jimmy Porter has just lost this 6th spot to Dylan McDonald. The 38 car is starting to come alive as tires go away. They're going to lap Corby Daniels there on the 88 car. He goes way low off of turn number 2. Jimmy Porter's got his work cut out for him, but you know what? That entry, I can't tell if it's helping or hurting Dylan. They'll continue to do battle. Lap 37 of 50 now, and the 38 starting to set sail. A good run out of turn number 2. Arcs down to the exit out of that second corner and down the back stretch. Up back to the lead, you've got Jean-Philippe Bergeron still trying to lengthen things out, and he's doing so. Up to a half second from about 4/10 a few laps prior, and Aaron Smith is starting to lose touch, but one around on the front stretch. Corby Daniels down alongside the grass, and caution flag comes out. Oh, this whole race just changed. We'll take a moment, we'll get the replay as to what just happened down the front stretch for Corby Daniels. This is race changing, ladies and gentlemen. This is big for the 88 car. And for everybody else, of course. This is that caution I was talking about, maybe an opportunity to take tires. This is back to where he let Porter and McDonald go by, and he's just struggling with things this evening. Not sure what's gone wrong for him, but he is just not having a night. This is into turns 1 and 2. I think it's going to happen in a few more moments. But, man, I mean, he is really having to turn that race car in. I mean, just the racing line is not working out for him at all. You can tell this is a tough racetrack, Eric. He's having a tough time.
Yeah, indeed. It's been a struggle for him for sure. And you see here, boy, that's a heartbreaker there for him. Gets down on the grass coming off turn number 4. But fortunately for us, it's going to set up a bit of a shootout here late in the go into Thompson. Less than 10 to go. We got the top 3 under a blanket. Let's see how this one pans out.
Now, I talked about the possibility of tires. One car pitted, but it's none of the leaders. It was Dylan McDonald in that 38 car that came in and assumingly got tires, likely some damage repairs as well if he had gotten any. I don't think he would have any reason to put fuel in his tour modified, but who knows? He could have gone for that as well, put some weight back in the race car and have some extra ballast in the rear, maybe free up the rear of the race car. Who knows? But I can tell you these guys up front, they have held steadfast. And you see Aaron Gregory, he'll come around, collect a lap, and move a little bit closer to these guys. In fact, that puts him back on the lead lap. So that's big if you're an Aaron Gregory fan. I know we have a few of you out in the chat.
Now, this upcoming restart is going to be huge because the outside line has been the preferred line for the initial start and the restart that we had after the one and only caution prior to this second one that we've had here. So this could be an opportunity here, not only for Corso or for Smith, but, you know, even if you look at the driver that's running in the 4th spot right now, and Hunter Holberg, I mean, this is a chance for him to gain a couple spots, maybe get up on the podium here and kickstart what could be a second half surge for him in the season. This restart's going to pretty much be everything to how this race unfolds, and I wouldn't rule out things getting a little bit too rough here, and we may be doing this more than once before we decide who's going to victory lane.
Look at this. Jean-Philippe Bergeron on the restart. Remember, he's got choice of where to restart. We saw it on the first restart of the evening. He has chosen the bottom. I think that's a bold move. I'm not so sure about that. That may give Dave Corso the opportunity that he needs with which to take this race lead in the closing laps. It's lap 43 coming to lap 44. That means we'll have 7 laps to go out of 50. We've ticked away a whole bunch of them, and a whole bunch more are getting ready to happen. Jean-Philippe Bergeron, race leader on the bottom side, coming to the restart, and we are back. Green flag racing. Dave Corso had him cleared for a moment, checks up, and one's in the wall. That's Holberg. And a caution flag back out. I think that one was deemed a no start.
Start waved off, and it looked as though that Bergeron actually perfected the restart efforts there on that bottom lane. I believe you were right, though. I think it was Holberg who did screw up the wall with the right side tires in the middle of the straightaway. Aaron Smith was so quick to fill the hole up on the outside lane and try to see if he could follow Corso through. We're going to have a chance here to go back and see how this unfolds. Everybody already playing bumper tag on the back straightaway, but boy, I'll tell you, I thought Bergeron timed it to perfection, but it may have been a little bit too good here as that start was waved off, and we'll have one more look at it.
This is slow-mo. We're watching Jean-Philippe Bergeron bottom side. You see Corso starts to roll, starts to launch, and at some point I think he might go. And Jean is obviously trying to wait on the iRacing green flag, try and wait as long as he can, catch that 54 sleeping. It almost works. Here you can see the 54 is way ahead of Jean-Philippe Bergeron. Obviously, the admin saw something they don't like with this. Race control calling that one back. The only unfortunate thing to it, because this is very normal in short track racing, but usually they have the option not to count those laps. That's not quite the case here.
That's going to eat up more laps, so we may be looking at a shootout in the form of about 3 laps, maybe even a green-white checker by the time we eat up some of these caution laps, and these guys are going to have to do it all over again. I mean, I don't blame Bergeron there by obviously waiting on the sim or maybe even trying to bait Corso there into trying to go a little bit too early, but either way, they clicked more laps off. That's going to ratchet up the intensity for this shootout here with a lot on the line. We told you coming into tonight, Dave Corso, only driver to have a win on the oval so far this season for the BRP Asphalt Modified Tour, while the only other driver who has visited victory lane, and Aaron Smith, he was 1 point behind coming into tonight's race by virtue of his quick time in qualifying. He started this race as the unofficial points leader. Granted, there are bonus points up for grabs for the fastest lap, or most laps led, which I believe that's going to go to Jean-Philippe Bergeron, but there's a lot on the line here. Bergeron trying to go to victory lane, second and third, fighting it out for the overall championship, and a lot of variables behind those drivers in fourth, fifth, and throughout the rest of the pack, and it looks as though we're only going to have a couple laps to figure it all out.
What's working against Dave Corso on the points is, as you mentioned, Aaron Smith has the 2 points for pole time this evening. Jean-Philippe Bergeron, he's got 2 points for leading the most laps. He's also got a point for the fastest lap. And, I mean, quite simply, I think the 18 car is going to play a spoiler in this championship battle. It depends on how things work out. Obviously, for these positions. The other thing I noticed is we go into a bit of an extension of the race here. We'll have 2 laps to settle it. That'll take us to 51. So a green-white checkered, a small extension, a little bit of overtime here in the BRP iRacing series. But Jean-Philippe Bergeron, if he's able to clear Dave Corso, just wiped away all the time that he had to defend. If we go back green flag racing, if this start stands, and if the 18 car clears Dave Corso, he's got a much smaller window to have to defend, and Dave's got a much smaller window with which he can try and pass that 18 car. Coming to the green flag, hopefully this one goes a bit better. Waiting for that green flag. Jean-Philippe Bergeron waits again. Much cleaner that time. We race to 1.
Might be a bit of a better edge that time for the outside lane. And Corso, Jean-Philippe tries to shut the door. Corso checks up, and here comes Holberg, who spins on the back straightaway.
He's around in the grass. We stay green flag. It doesn't impact the race leader. Jean-Philippe Bergeron, white flag in the air for the Frenchie.
Looks as though he's able to perfect the restart on the bottom lane. Corso's going to have one last shot to try to move him aside with a half lap to go. Could we see our third different winner of the season? Half a lap to go.
It's going to happen through turns 3 and 4. The Frenchie is going to exit turn 4, and Jean-Philippe Bergeron almost gets the wall, takes a race win, and they're crashing in behind.
It's only fitting that they were wrecking coming to the line. As rough and rumble as this race was, it lived up to the expectation that Thompson sets, and it was Jean-Philippe Bergeron who perfected that bottom lane on the restart to parlay it into his first win of the season over the driver who led the points coming into the night, while Aaron Smith rounds out your top 3. But Bergeron has got to be pumped for this one, as it looks as though he's going to put that 600 horsepower motor down to the mat here and try to celebrate on the front straightaway, as he's got himself a BRP Asphalt modified win.
And this is a long time coming at this point, for Jean-Philippe Bergeron. He's had a couple of race wins almost in the bag, I think, back to Lanier, of course, and he's had a couple of other great races. This one is a little bit overdue, I think, for Jean-Philippe. Came on the scene in the second race of the season and immediately impressed, and this time he finally gets it done, finally comes out on top of a battle with Dave Corso. We'll take our customary post-race break. Don't go anywhere. Post-race coverage on the way from Thompson. This is the BRP iRacing series on Pit Stop TV.
Sound Art introduces an entirely new way to listen to music in your home. By combining the best of two products, a revolutionary high-fidelity, low-profile Bluetooth wireless speaker with beautiful artwork. Select from a library of artwork or upload your own photos to personalize your experience. Sound Art ushers in an era of invisible, beautiful, and amazing sound throughout your home and redefines your entire entertainment system. The need to reclaim your floor space and rid your home of unsightly speaker boxes that need to be bolted to the wall is now a thing of the past. Our canvas is printed on high-quality permalite by Breathing Color. And select from our gallery or upload your own. Standard sizes include 16 by 20 and 18 by 24 canvas wrapped. Custom sizing is available, as well as surround sound options.
After months of quarantine, we're all interested in how we can become our best self. The team at Permanent Makeup and Cryo is here to help you get the flawless makeup look every day without the extra effort or time. When it comes to your appearance, you deserve the best care that money can buy.
Welcome back to the virtual Thompson Speedway Motorsports Park, formerly Thompson International Speedway, like it still says in the sim. Of course, this is an older version, an older scan of the 5/8 mile speedway up here in Thompson, Connecticut, but it's a fantastic racetrack, I think. Underused for sure on the sim. I'm glad we got to use it this season in the BRP iRacing series Asphalt Modified Tour, and it was this guy in that 18 car taking the show this evening. This is the first time I get to announce him as a race winner. Jean-Philippe, congratulations. How'd you hang on?
Thank you very much. Well, Thompson hasn't been quite my type of track, and well, on the official race side actually, so I wasn't expecting much from tonight, but I wanted the redemption from last time, well, second to last time I raced with you at Lanier, where I got passed by Dave the last restart, so I really wanted a redemption here, and I finally got it.
Absolutely. I couldn't help but think of that finish all night long, watching you guys go back and forth and battle for that race lead. Obviously, tire management was the key this evening, but then that caution came out. How did you battle back on those restarts, and what happened on that first restart where it was called back?
It was called back because they said Dave probably jumped to start. I mean, I tried to accelerate the start just a bit to make sure we had a good speed at the start, to make sure I didn't have any tires spinning, and probably Dave misunderstood that and jumped the start just a bit, so they called it back. But other than that, I was pretty sure some more people would get in for tires. I was kind of scared that maybe Aaron in third will come in for tires and try to pass us with the last restart, but it was a good thing he didn't.
Well, this is going to help you out in the points, but you're going to need a whole lot of help over the rest of the season. You've been kind of part-time so far. Do you think you'll make the rest of these races?
I'll do my best. I just never know, because I'm still a full-time student at university. I have class on a Wednesday night, so I'm not always available, but I'll do my best to get the best finish I can in the championship, and I'm still hoping for a top 5 in point, but anyways, we'll see what I got for the rest of the season.
Absolutely. Well, best of luck to you in school. Hopefully grades are looking all right. Who do you have to thank, though? Who do you have to shout out this evening for this race win?
Shout out to Pro On Controls and CTSR, which are my main sponsors, and late model racing as well. Shout out to Technoflex, who are with me in the pro late model side as well. So big thanks everyone, and thanks to everyone for hosting the series. Really fun, and I hope to be part of it for a long time.
Absolutely. I think you've got to be a part of it for a long time. I think you're already a serious leader. Congratulations on this race win this evening. Every single lap led. Soak this one up.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much, guys.
And Jean-Philippe Bergeron finally nets that first race win in this series. Again, a bit part-time, but it's good to see him win here this evening at Thompson.
Indeed, that was great to see him be able to capture the flag, our third different winner on the season. But the driver who led the points coming into tonight's event qualified third, however, got up to second on the opening laps, and that's pretty much where he stayed throughout the night. Dave Corso, the oval win streak comes to an end, but it was a good points night. You kept the 70 car behind you at the checkered flag, but you had a shot to get that win there. Looked as though you were trying to make the outside work, and when the 18 started to wash up a little bit, you decided to take the high road, literally. Talk about your result here tonight. Are you happy with the second place finish, or were you looking for win number 4?
You know, I love to win, but you can't win every race. It's a good second place. Second place is good, and it's good for the champ. It's a max point night, but I love to win, but it's the second place that's good.
Passing seemed really tough tonight. I mean, was the agenda to know that you had an opportunity to be up alongside because you didn't want to push up? I mean, you know, how was it for you as far as trying to set Bergeron up and trying to make a move? It looked as though that you didn't want to risk it all too much. Was that the case? Was it a little bit too risky to try to force an issue here at Thompson tonight?
I tried outside, but Jean-Philippe go high a little bit, and I'm on his rear right quarter. And I'm scared of the wall of exit of turn 2, and I see Aaron on the third place, and I lift up second place, and it's good for the point, no wreck and everything. I try, but it's too risky, I think.
The points are going to remain close, especially with Smith getting the pole here tonight. We've got 3 races left: Concord, Oxford, and South Boston. Is your goal to try to grab more wins before the season is out, or are you strictly racing that 70 car for the championship?
No, I try to win the more race I can, and it's sure if I see I can win, I'm on the champ mode. But I want to race I want to win 3 other races.
Well, you'll certainly be one of the favorites to get it done. A great runner-up finish here tonight. Dave, who do you have to thank for your success this season?
Thank you to Autoplus, CarQuest Autopart, and Advanced Autopart 2, and Team Dark Horse, and Praxair.
Well, the great season continues. A great run tonight, Dave. We look forward to seeing you in a couple of weeks at Concord. Good luck there, and congratulations on the second place finish tonight, bud.
Thank you.
And again, that is Dave Corso, who had the points lead coming into the night. It's going to remain close between he and Aaron Smith. After Smith came home third, he got the bonus point for the pole. We know that. We did see Bergeron lead the most laps in this race. We'll see who got the bonus point for the fastest lap, but it's Corso who grabs the runner-up position here tonight. We will check the math for the points when we get set for Concord in just a couple of weeks' time.
And finishing third place was, of course, that competition for the points championship. I think the best competition that Dave Corso has had and will have all season long. Obviously, it is Watkins Glen winner Aaron Smith in the number 70 car. Aaron, I first want to ask you about how quickly you have to move around from not platform to platform, but from discipline to discipline, and how much of a challenge is that specifically coming into these evenings with these modifieds?
Certainly poses a pretty big challenge when you go from the slidey stock cars to these things that are pretty gripped up on the short tracks. But I felt like it was pretty smooth tonight, but unfortunately we weren't able to get the start we wanted and fell back to third.
And what happened there on the initial start? We saw easily Jean-Philippe Bergeron made quick work of that top side and put you in second place.
Yeah, the car didn't really grip up there for me on the bottom. The whole track just felt completely different from practice. I couldn't really find out what it was until the last 10 laps. Unfortunately, we lost all the spots we had at the start and weren't able to make them back up.
And of course, that long run, I think, is the best chance you guys have had so far this season to really learn the car lap after lap and see how things change. How big of a change-up was it from the short runs we usually see, caution to caution, to this longer run we had through really the meat and potatoes of the race?
Well, less restart certainly made it much easier to figure out the car and see how it would handle over the course of the long run, but unfortunately, it just wasn't enough for us.
well, you still get third place. You're still going to be close in the standings. In fact, you're putting some fantastic pressure on Dave Coursol. You're still going to leave Thompson only 1 point behind the 54. So you're doing things right so far, I'd say. Who makes it happen for you? Who do you have to thank?
I'd like to thank y'all for broadcasting, all the folks at the BRP iRacing series for putting this show on, and all the folks at Satellite Racing for their support over the past year, and looking forward to Concord in 2 weeks.
Absolutely can't wait to see you down in North Carolina with that one. Best of luck to you on the Triangle Half Mile. We'll see you then.
All right, thank you.
Aaron Smith takes a third place. And I actually misspoke when I was talking to John Philippe. Aaron got 1 lap led and all of that. John missed one, but because I'd forgotten it went that extra distance. But still, I think John Philippe simply, obviously, had the field covered. It was a fantastic run for that 18 car. We take a look at the full race results this evening. You see the top 5. Jean-Philippe Bergeron, Dave Coursol, Aaron Smith. We talked to all 3 of them. Matt DeRitter sneaks in there for 4th, and Dean Meisler for 5th.
Gregory, despite the crash early in this race, comes home in 6th. Jamie Porter, we highlighted him and his success and team movements that he had. We talked about him mid-race, comes home in 7th. And then we get to some of the drivers who had problems on the final lap, including that of Dylan McDonald, who was 8th. Boy, your heart breaks for Hunter Holberg. I mean, the guy was pretty much top 5 all night long. Spins out 1 lap after the restart, doesn't catch a caution. Last car on the lead lap, and Corby Daniels was the first car 1 lap down. Last car out of this race, as a matter of fact, 3 laps down in 10th spot.
So 10 cars this evening. Made it a pretty good race still. There was a lot to cover, a lot to talk about this evening. Unfortunately, we didn't get AJ Alberta on the racetrack, but it was still good. And can't wait to see if he shows himself back at Concord in a couple of weeks. It was fun this evening, and it simply would not be possible without guys like these Bicknell Racing products, the namesake of the BRP iRacing series. Matt DeRitter Designs painting a lot of the cars that you see in the field week in, week out here in BRP. Jam Performance, Pete Costco, Hollage, Miller's Auto Detailing. They all do so much work here for the BRP iRacing series. All of them make it possible, and forever, big thanks to all of them. We, of course, have to thank our own partners here at Pit Stop TV, though. Tucson Sound Art, your picture, your music. Make sure to use promo code PitStopTV when you check out to grab 10% off of your order. I keep mentioning Father's Day just around the corner. Quite simply, still time to get your order in, and you certainly should. It's a fantastic product. It doesn't matter if it's a wedding, if it's a special occasion, if it's a race win, whatever works for you, you can slap it on that canvas that they put out, and it's high quality. I've got one behind me. I stand by the product day in, day out, till the day I die. It's fantastic stuff. Go ahead and see them at TucsonSoundArt.com. A big shout out as well as usual to Race Pace Setups. They've got Indy 500 setups. They've got GT3 setups, Porsche Cup. Doesn't matter what you want. They can make it happen for you on that roadside. Check them out, Race Pace Setups, at that Discord link down below. These broadcasts, of course, also brought to you by Permanent Makeup and Cryo in Maine, where you deserve the best care that money can buy. Whiplash Media, the official broadcast camera and graphic provider of Pit Stop TV. And BAM Racing Videos, by a race fan for the racing community. Eric, it was good to have you on Modifieds for once here on Pit Stop TV. Of course, well, you call the Smart Modified Tour. It's good to have you bring some of that knowledge over here. And I mean, it feels so good to call Modifieds in general and to have you along with.
I'm happy to see there's a series that has embraced modified racing. I watch a lot of my friends up in the Northeast put leagues together and whatnot, but to see some group or an organization like BRP get behind Asphalt Modified Racing, I wish we had more cars, but we proved tonight, and we pretty much proved all season long, that with this batch of drivers, we leave oftentimes entertained, and tonight was no exception. This track lived up to the reputation. A little bit difficult to pass. Drivers were physical when they had to be, and they pushed the envelope on restarts, and we were privy to a pretty unique event and a third different winner in 5 races, so things are super tight atop the championship. They remain that way, and I expect that trend to continue in Concord in a few weeks, and I can't wait to get there.
Neither can I. We are off next week here in the BRP iRacing Series Asphalt Modified Tour. We'll bring the schedule back up. You see, we've gone through April 21st, now through May 19th. A whole lot of laps of racing. It's been a lot of fun, but we are taking a break. Next week on Wednesday, instead of finding BRP Asphalt Modified action, you'll find the IORL Indianapolis 500. That's Indy cars at Indianapolis for 200 laps. And I can't give enough thanks to Corby Daniels and Hunter Holberg here at the BRP iRacing Series being so willing to work with us and IORL to make sure we can still get that broadcast date with those guys. It was absolutely a fantastic operation, working with Zach Buchanan and IRL, working with these guys over here at BRP. And again, I cannot thank them enough. And we get to look at a nighttime shot of the golf course here at the Speedway as well. But still, huge thanks goes out to the BRP iRacing series being so willing to work with us on that. And so we are happy to bring you coverage of that next week. To fill you in between now and that race next week, though, we've got the LTAC Cup Series this Friday evening from Phoenix Raceway. It's race 17 of 29. It's race 17 of 18 in their regular season. Points are coming, well, hard to come by, and time is running out. They have got to capitalize on every single lap at Phoenix, 156 of them to be exact. If they want to make it into the playoffs, make sure to check us out Friday evening at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Sunday, we've got the season finale for Cross Series League Racing. Sure, Adam Thompson's already got the championship, but there's still plenty of reasons to watch, if not just for the action, for the midfield points battles. Mike Sorum does not have second place locked up yet. He's got to worry about Robert Schwenkler and more. There's plenty of reason to tune in as they take Spec Racer forwards to Laguna Seca. Then Monday, we restart the race week. We do it all over again with the BRP iRacing Series Pro Dirt Late Models at the Bristol Motor Speedway. Then we take the Pacific Challenge Cup Series and their Porsche 911 GT3 Cup cars to Road Atlanta. Of course, that Monday doubleheader that we've got through the month of May. Tuesday evening, the Nork iRacing Series returns, but not with their normal series. No, we're actually doing an Indianapolis 1000 next week. Tuesday and Wednesday, we'll have myself and Eric Brennan along for the call, and some others along with the broadcast crew. It's going to be fun. 2 days in a row, 2 Indianapolis 500s, Tuesday and Wednesday nights respectively. We've got Nork starting at 5:30 p.m. Eastern on Tuesday. Then we've got IRL at approximately 6 to 6:30 p.m. Eastern. We'll let you know on social media exactly when that gets nailed down. The Indianapolis 1000. Last year we had the doubleheader with the Indianapolis 500 from IRL and the Coke 600 with the Galaxy Cup Series. This season, changing it up a little bit, just double up on Indy. Let's have fun. Can't wait to see you there. Make sure you follow along with us at, on all of our platforms here at Pit Stop TV, on Facebook at www.facebook.com/pitstoptv, on Twitter, pitstoptv_, on Twitch at www.twitch.tv/pit_stop_TV, on Instagram now as well at pit_stop_TV, and on YouTube at www.youtube.com/c/pitstoptv1. For all of us here at Pit Stop TV, Eric Brennan, alongside me on the mic this evening, Trey Shuttlesworth, grabbing photos around the racetrack. Thank you so much for tuning in. Join us. Email me at andrew@pitstoptv.com. We'll get you on the broadcast crew. We can't wait to see you work with us. It's going to be a fun one. But make sure to stick with us again next week. Tons of racing. We got the Indianapolis 1000 coming up effectively. Until then, have a great night. We'll see you then.